everybody, welcome back to Fans React. This is FanCast and we're actually up to FanCast episode 10 now, double figures. So yeah, we're doing really well. And today we've got a very special guest called Jack Dodds. Some of you might know him. Thanks for coming on, Jack.
Well, pleasure to come on.
Yeah, excellent. Well, as it stands, the game's just finished against Burton Albion. We're not going to go into massive detail, but if you could just give us roughly your thoughts about the game and maybe what we should have done differently.
Well, first and foremost, we've just been talking about the formation there. I spent all night trying to figure out what it was. Was it three at the back? Was it four at the back? To me, it seemed to be the usual three at the back, but then we didn't seem to have anyone on the pitch who can really create anything. So Gooch was injured, and then he didn't play Maguire. He played Embleton, but without anyone to really play off him. So I thought that was the first thing that went wrong. I thought we were largely the better team. Wouldn't say we dominated the game, in control for the most of the game. Obviously, they got the goal, I think, which was through an individual error more than anything else. We then got one back. Couldn't quite get another one. I mean, considering the circumstances with there being a caretaker manager, I don't think that was a terrible result. But then you think they are the worst defensive team in the league. We've only scored one goal against them. They've only won 2 games all season. I believe the second bottom. So in reality, the result just quite simply isn't good enough. And I'm not too disheartened because, you know, we can always catch this up, and if whoever the new manager is can get us going, then tonight won't matter too much because we're going to have our opportunities to put it right. Yeah,
definitely. I totally agree with everything you've said there. I think obviously 3 points was massive today. We could have done with them, but it hasn't happened. We have to just sort of wait till the new manager comes in, whoever it may be, and see if they can inject something different to what obviously Phil Parkinson and his caretaker has done tonight. But anyway, we'll forget about the game for now, because obviously you'll probably be talking about that in one of your shows on your channel, which we'll get into in a minute. I want to get on to a bit more about you, getting to know you a little bit. How have you been coping with all the lockdown, the restrictions and everything since March? Has it been something you've found hard, or are you coping okay?
Well, I've been okay recently. Obviously, we went into a lockdown kind of like the last month or so, and I've been okay with that, to be honest. I've been quite decent because my life hasn't changed much because of it. I haven't been refereeing, which is one thing I've missed a little bit. Mm-hmm. But my life's been fairly normal not normal, but fairly similar to what it was since we came out the first lockdown. But I won't lie, the first lockdown I really struggled like. I was listening to Jacob's FanCast just this morning. I went back and watched a few of them before I came on, and I must say I really resonated when he was saying that he struggled with the first one. I think the lack of interaction with other people. Obviously, everything's good with my family and that, but when that's your only real interaction for a few months and you're not seeing other people, it's hard. And I think the uncertainty was the main thing. Uncertainty with football, uncertainty with the sixth form, and uncertainty with work. And I was thinking, when's the next time I'm going to referee a game? When's the next time I'm going to be to watch Sunderland? Are we going to be at the stadium? When are we going to see a packed out stadium light again? You know, any number of questions. So I really struggled with the first one, but to be honest, I think probably took quite a lot from it. Looking at it from a positive perspective, I hope everyone else has it. I think everyone struggled a bit, but I know I certainly learned a lot from it, and there's a lot of things I picked up in there that I'm happy to have, and maybe I wouldn't have done if it wasn't for the lockdown.
Yeah, that's actually very wise words. I think if you can learn something from all this experience of an unprecedented sort of historic moment in humanity's existence, really, it's a chance to look at yourself, see how you are like under these sort of restrictions. Because for a lot of people, even if I'm a bit antisocial, but like for a lot of people, just going to the games, having the burger, having the beer, and meeting up with people is just like a massive part of their life. And to have that taken away is it's quite hard for a lot of people. So I do sympathise with them. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to you. You briefly, basically, people might recognise you from. You did a few interviews on SAFC Fan TV after the games with Sean. You came on here, did a little bit of work, and you've now created your own channel. Could you give us a little bit of information about what's going on there and what made you set that up?
So on my own channel, I've got 3 main kind of series I'm doing. The first of which, the Red and White preview. doing that for every single Sunderland game, getting a different Sunderland fan on and an opposition fan on every game to try and speak about the game in a bit more of a tactical and objective level, trying to look at where our problems might lie, where our strengths are, and doing the same for the opposition. Because the idea from that came from, I've had it for a while really, where I thought it would be great to listen to opposition fans speak about their team, because obviously we were playing Burton tonight. I had no idea what formation they were going to play, who to look out for, where their weaknesses lie, things like that. So that's the idea. About half an hour to 40 minutes long, just depending on whatever. Trying to get their perspective of how they're doing, as well as having a bit talk about Sunderland, and then ideally getting the same two fans back on about a day after the game for a fairly similar setup where we can compare our predictions and look at what we said and how that actually panned out, as well as hopefully getting a few interviews done. Had Danny Collins on, which was my first one. I really enjoyed that. I've had the videos yet to go up, but it'll be going up in the next few days. I had Andrew Camus from the Sunderland Till I Die series on Netflix on. Had him on. Yeah. Don't want to say anything right now, but about 3 to 4 ex-Sunderland players are more or less just putting into place, getting them on, just working out timings and things like that. So those are the 3 things I'm doing on my channel. As for setting it up, well, I only really started doing the interviews with Sean. Well, getting interviewed by Sean this season. It was something that I'm a long time viewer of the SAFC Fan TV. I was probably one of the first ever subscribers to it, really. But I used to always work straight after the game, so I never used to be able to do an interview. But I've always thought I wanted to get on, and I got on, and I quite liked it. And I noticed there was a couple of nice comments on there about us, and I thought, I'd go and do this. Go and do this after the games, and then got onto the live show on the Sunday Bunch and the Thursday Night Live, where me and Matthew got on once together, and I went on just before that as well, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought, well, it gave us a bit of a push to see a way. You've often thought about doing a podcast or like or going into like a media role or whatever, and you've got a few contacts, and you know how to set a video up and things like that. So why not just give it a try? And I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people can say that's why I wanted you on this channel as well, because you do have a lot of knowledge. You're a nice guy, and I think I've watched all your videos so far. I watched the Danny Collins one today. It's the first chance I got to watch it, and he came across as such a lovely guy. I have actually, I've sent a message to Carlos Edwards as well. I have sent it now. I sent it today, and hopefully that's something that comes up.
I managed to get in contact with him.
Excellent.
On Instagram, yeah. No, Danny Collins was fantastic. Like, I mean, it was a good interview as well. I thought he spoke really well, but like, even when we stopped recording and we had a couple of minutes before Zoom was gonna cut us off, I thought like he spoke. He honestly, it was really nice to speak to him, and he seemed to. Like a lot of professional football players can have a bit of an arrogance problem, like, but he said like a really down to earth, nice bloke, and it was really nice to speak to him. And as I say, even after the recording went off, we had a big talk about Sunderland and a bit talking. And I thought I thought it was just really nice speaking to him, and he came across as like a really good bloke. Like,
yeah, definitely he is. I mean, I was in an audio podcast just this afternoon before the game with Speak Safk, and Danny Collins was in there. We did a quiz. You keep an eye out for that with Speak Safk. That was fantastic. He was such a good laugh. You could tell he's just a proper down-to-earth, genuine lad. So, I mean, you keep getting guests like that on your channel, you're into something really good, and I wish you all the best with them. How long, I know you're only a young lad, but how long have you been a Sunderland fan? Can you tell us as well, like, can you remember your first memory of actually sort of being a fan?
So the first game I can remember, it was the 2009-10 season. I had a season ticket, and it was the first home game of the season, Tuesday night. Sunderland 1, Chelsea 3. It was Steve Bruce's second game in charge. We just played Bolton the Saturday before, and then we had Blackburn on the Saturday. Was Blackburn? It was a team like that. I think it was Blackburn the Saturday after. That was the first game I remember, but I had been to a few games before, but I think I was a bit young to remember them, really. So I'm 17, so that I was 7, I want to say, I think. on that game, and that was me. That's my first memory as a Sunderland fan, and fell in love with it straight away. Like the passion I felt surrounding, in the ground, the atmosphere. I mean, the football was decent. I think it was really exciting on the stage, Bruce, as well. We played kind of attacking and scored plenty of goals, and I think I just fell in love with the club. As soon as I started going to the games regularly when I was about 7 or 8, and since then I've always just looked forward to the match, and Sunderland's always been a huge thing in my life.
Yeah. Have you got any really good memories? What's the best memory you can remember being a Sunderland fan? I mean, you can also tell us your worst if you like. We don't have to go down that road, but tell us your best at least.
I think I'll tell you my worst. I mean, my worst memory was the playoff final against Charlton, like when their goal went in. I think with it being seconds to go, and although we're being quite poor, I was thinking, right, it's going to go to extra time, then it might go to penalties and anything. And when I was still thinking, all we need to do is score a goal and we're out of this league. Score one goal and we're out of this league and we're back into the Championship. And obviously it had to be with 6 seconds left. It was heartbreak. And that your best Sunderland memory. Oh, I think there's a few, to be fair. Like it hasn't all been terrible. I think Sunderland 3, Everton 0. That was a really great one. Sam Allardyce in charge at that point. The Chelsea 3-2 one probably comes not too far behind that one. There's the Defoe goal against Newcastle, the volley. That is up there, one of the best moments of my life. Aside from that, there's one more springing to mind, and that's when we beat Newcastle 3-0 at home. And we broke with about 5 minutes left, and it was Kabul out on the left wing, pretty much on the counter attack, put a cross in, and Stephen Fletcher came in at the back post and scored on a volley. And I remember that moment, just being so happy in that moment. But I think if I had to go with best Sunderland memory, I'll probably go with the Defoe volley against Newcastle. Like,
oh, honest to God, I'm 43-year-old, but even for me, that was absolutely incredible. I mean, you could tell how much it meant to him and the fans. In that one moment, it was just like incredible.
Everything was perfect in that moment. Like it just. I felt as if he resonated with us, we resonated with him. Obviously, the goal was absolutely spectacular. Just on the brink of half time, we hadn't, I think, been playing brilliantly. So to get the goal was like, oh God, I can fucking score and playing this badly. Who was the manager? But was it Advocat? Maybe I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Then it might have only been his second or third game in charge. Just everything just seemed to come together for that one moment. And as I say, honestly, it's probably the best moment of my life, up there.
Yeah. I think even for like you say, many generations, it's probably one of the best moments. It's funny you should see a Charlton for your worst moment as well, because for a lot of fans, different generations, there's 2 Charlton playoff finals.
Yeah.
So that it just resonates with everybody. I think Charlton is just a horrendous club for us to play, especially in a final. But
as with Burton Albion.
Yeah, I think we've got a few bogey teams, haven't we? Jesus Christ.
Just stop calling them bogey teams, just start calling them teams.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? We just seem to like, you need some points, you need some confidence. Come to the stadium.
Come to Sunderland, mate. We'll sort you out. Nice. 3 points, confidence booster, anything you want, like free of charge.
Yeah, it's always the same with Sunderland. Unfortunately, I think that's part of it. I don't know if you agree with this, but I think a lot of the younger fans, they just can't grasp it. Like for me, apart from the 2 seasons we finished 7th in the Premiership, we've always been like poor in any league. I can't remember us being like amazing, like fantastic, looking forward to every game, excluding them 2 seasons. And like I think a lot of the younger fans just think, oh, we should be in the Premiership challenging for like the top 4 or something, you know what I mean?
I don't know, I mean, to me, I always look forward to every game, even in the Championship season. I absolutely love this football club, and even when it's going wrong, it's just to be a part of it and just to be there. And when we'll get beat, I want to be there because and so I'll always look forward to the game, even if I know we're probably going to get beat today, and the atmosphere is going to be toxic, and we're probably not going to play very well. And I still look forward to it because I want to be there. About the younger fans, I don't know. I would say it's common among a lot of ages. Like watching the fan TV interviews, you get a lot. I would say in particular older fans who just seem to think that doesn't matter that we're in the 3rd division, we should still have Premier League players in, and Premier League managers, and Premier League coaching staff, and Premier League expectations, even though we're in the third division.
Yeah, I suppose it depends where you get your information from, what you're watching. Obviously, I'm on Twitter a lot, and that's it. I suppose it depends where you're getting your information from. But yeah, that's spot on here. Let's talk about Phil Parkinson going. Do you think it was? I know you've said, and you're one of the sort of people that really didn't want to go Parkinson out. It ended up happening. Do you think it was right now, or are you sort of disappointed?
To be honest with you, when I found out, my first instinct was it's the right time. Obviously, I refrained from being partly out for a long time. My main thinking was we'll get rid of Phil Parkinson. Who's the major improvement to come in? And to me, obviously, there's Cowley brothers, Paul Cook, Nigel Pearson to an extent, Gus Poirier to an extent. Were the only four for me that I could have ever really even thought about coming in. I just thought, well, if we're getting rid of Parkinson, it's got to be someone who's going to be better. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, I think with the squad we've got, and hopefully this what I'm saying right now will come to bite us at the end of the season when, you know, if everything goes okay. But I personally don't think the squad we've got currently is good enough. And I put the unsuccessful season so far down to the lack of quality players were signed before the season started. I know we had the salary cap, but there was a 2-month gap between the salary cap being introduced and us knowing our fate was in League One. We had 2 months to go out and sign any of the likes of Fraser, Garbutt, Mitchell, Madison, Nangela, and if we'd signed a few of those players, we could have been in a far better position. So with us being party, well, I was partying up until maybe about the MK Dons game, more or less, and then I was pretty much on the fence. I thought we're going to have someone who's going to guarantee us to improve this squad. We haven't got enough. We haven't got a lot of money, and it's going to cost us a lot to get rid of Parkinson. We have got to guarantee it's going to be someone better. And I couldn't see it happening, and I couldn't see someone turning this squad of players around in such short a period of time. And I thought, if anyone's going to do it, it might be Parkinson. But I think I slowly came around to seeing that he is a reactive manager. I mean, tonight we made the last 2 subs about the 65th minute, I believe. When would Parkinson ever do that? When things weren't going our way, he just kept it the same. He didn't ever really give anyone much of a chance. I thought his man management at first I thought was fantastic, but I think over time we're starting to see that his man management isn't brilliant and that he cannot really get the best out of everyone. He can just get the best out of small personalities, which if you want to be in a position like management, whether that's in football or in any career, you've got to be able to deal with different people, which I don't think he does. So eventually I kind of came around and thought, wait, yeah, it'd be nice to see him go now. And that was probably pretty much from the Fleetwood game, really. And I think, but we have got to nail the appointment. We've got to get it right. We can't just go out and get anyone. There's a lot of people wanting Kevin Phillips in. Obviously, I've made it very clear I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Phillips. Well, I'm a huge fan of Kevin Phillips. Not a huge fan of Kevin Phillips coming in as manager.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of people on about Cattermole and O'Shea. Where I mean, don't get wrong, all three of those, all three of them are. They are what they are, but other manager material, well, we don't know, and that's why for me I wouldn't have any of them in. For me, we've got to go out with someone who we know has got proven League One experience, knows the league, and knows how to get us promoted. And I can't see that coming with that. There's no guarantee with any of those three.
Is there anybody that you sort of suggesting would be able to provide that? Who we could realistically get?
My initial thoughts were Paul Cook. Got promoted to Wigan. I'm not sure what else he's done in his career, but I know he got promoted to Wigan. Got a couple of the players who we've got in our squad right now, Power and Greg. I don't know if there was probably a couple of the players maybe he's managed over his career. So Paul Cook would have been my first choice. Danny Cowley will be a brilliant appointment. There's all then with the news of Gus Poirier today, with that being on and off, it looked as if the point to me when I thought, God, he's gonna. I was waiting the club announcement, to be honest.
Yeah.
When Sky Bet took the betting offer on, I thought, God, any point today tomorrow, it's gonna go up. And I even changed all of his social media bios to all aboard the Gus bus. I thought was happening. Obviously, that's not the way it's worked out, and. But I think any of those three I would take, really. I don't know if I'd take Pearson. I also don't know if I can really afford him. A lot of people mentioned Eddie Howe. I would take him. Can we afford him?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have any ex-players who haven't got serious managerial experience. Paul Cook would be my first choice, and then I would love Cowley. I would take Poirier.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that. To be honest with you, I love Kevin Phillips. Obviously, he was my era. The only player, the English player to get the Golden Boot. To be honest, I think he does deserve a chance. And League One is a perfect opportunity to give him a chance. But it's so critical that we get promoted this season. Maybe coming in as a number 2, maybe some people suggested along with Pearson might be a better option. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see with that. But I don't know. I can see why the fans want them, because we just love them, don't we?
And I just think that they're letting the hearts make the decision. And although I mean, as I say, it's before my time, but although I can understand why so many fans are bits, for me, it would be similar to a player who I would have loved coming in, and I would love to say that, but we've got to think realistically. We've got to go away. Is Kevin Phillips realistically a better manager than Phil Parkinson? He might be the best manager in the world, and he's just been undiscovered. But at this current moment, for me, I don't think anyone can actually say why he's a better manager than Phil Parkinson, because he hasn't proven it yet. And we've got to go with someone proven. We're kind of be taking risks.
Yeah, exactly. It is a big risk, and it's not as if the fans are going to be in the stadium to give everybody a lift and cheer them on because Phillips is the manager.
That would change it slightly for me. Like, if there were fans, maybe change and go, the atmosphere would be brilliant if Kevin Phillips came. You'd probably get a lot of fans who haven't been in years maybe coming back just to see him on the touchline. That would maybe change it for us, but I still don't think it would. I still think we're not in a lucrative position to take risks. If we were mid-table in the Championship, financially sound, with a good group of young players who are always progressing, then maybe I would say take a risk on them. But for me, you've got to be going with someone who we are like 95% sure, because you can never be 100, but 95% sure that can take us out of this league and then get in the Championship, and then we've got to think about that as well.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think is going wrong? Why are we not getting the 3 points now? What is it? Lack of pace? Not playing the youngsters, not making the substitute at the right time? Is it a massive collection of things? What do you think is causing us not to get these wins that we need?
I do think it's a collection of things. I think my first instinct is that we never have a plan B. Well, obviously, I thought we did things differently tonight. Actually, I thought we played a lot through the middle as opposed to out wide, which just gives us a different dynamic. But I think the main problem this season is that we've been very one-dimensional, and teams can predict what we're going to do and do exactly what it is to counter that, and then we've got zero chance of scoring a goal. I think we've got tactically figured out. Is that I think obviously Parkinson's got to take most of the blame for that, but then I also think, do we have the players realistically to have multiple systems in place to have an effective plan B? Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't have enough quality players to actually change things so drastically. As I say, I think Parkinson's still got to take most of the responsibility, but if he had an extra 3 or 4 quality players, then maybe, of the ilk of a McGeady or a Maguire, I'm going to mention in a moment, maybe then it would have been a lot easier to change systems, and we could have done a lot more effectively. I also think that we've lacked someone to just grab the game by the scruff of the neck at times, because games aren't always going to go your way, but often the way of getting around that and coping with that is having someone like McGeady, who out of nowhere can turn a player, can beat the player, and just bang in the top corner. It's that. And there's been so many times since we came into League One where we haven't been the best team, we haven't dominated, but we've won the game, or we've got out with a point because of Aidan McGeady. Maguire does it occasionally, but I feel as if his absence without replacing it has cost us hugely. And to me, Charlton away is an example that sticks out in my mind, where if I had Aidan McGeady, we probably would have ended up, well, not probably, but highly likely, I think he would have ended up creating a chance of scoring a goal out of nothing.
Yeah, I think he was a very important player for us, and I don't quite. How do you see this sort of? Nothing's been confirmed, but bullying allegations, and then he's playing in the under-23s, and then what's true? I mean, what do you think about Ian McGeady? Do you think he's the kind of player that would have been bullying the youngsters?
I mean, you cannot rule it out. Obviously, I don't know the bloke personally, so I cannot possibly sit here and say either he was or he wasn't. With the bullying allegations, to me, he does. I can see it in him from what I have seen of him on the documentary and the interviews. I can see it in him. But to me, Aidan McGeady looks like a very passionate footballer, and the story that sticks out in my mind is the story that Lewis Morgan, that little brat, decided to tell about the Accrington Stanley game when we went 2-0 down to one of the worst teams in the league, who brought about 200 fans, and McGeady claimed that a lot of the players let the fans getting on their back get to them. His point was that I've played at a high level. A lot of you lads are about 10 years younger than me and want to go on a high level. You haven't hit your peak yet, and you want to go on and play in the Championship, maybe even the Premier League, or maybe abroad at a slightly higher standard. You're never going to be able to do that if you cannot cope with what's happened tonight. He makes a very fair point. Matthew gets it spot on when he says if that was Kevin Ball or Lee Cattermole saying that, the fans would love it. To me, Aidan McGeady is a very passionate footballer, and he clearly wasn't happy with the way things were going. He might have went about things in the wrong way, but for me, you've got to have the man management to get the best out of him. I kind of sit here and say, do I think he bullied him? Do I not think he did? I think I can see it happening, but what I also think is that maybe he just thought he's not good enough him, and maybe the way, and maybe he thought because Ross or Parkinson or whoever isn't doing it, I need to get on his back because I need to turn this team around. So to me, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I think I can definitely see him doing it. But to me, he comes across as a very passionate footballer, someone who wants to win football games. He doesn't want to be drawing and getting beat. And he just thought, I'm going to have to take responsibility here, which is an attitude I respect. Anyone who follows us on social media know that I've been very active in hashtag Free McGeady. I've always putting that out. I just think he's what we've been lacking this season. We could be 2 or 3 places higher in the league as a minimum if he'd been in the team.
Yeah, he's very, very valuable player, definitely. And I agree. I think we've missed him, and I also agree. I think I said this last time actually, but if we had Roy Keane or Paolo Di Canio as manager, he would have gotten a pat on the back for the things he's allegedly said.
He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, and a lot more players should really be doing the same thing. I don't know. I watched the game today, and for me, I know every Sunderland fan will probably say this. We've lacked pace, we lack creativity. We've got youth players like Diamond who looked good in pre-season, but haven't had a sniff at all in any of the league games for some reason. I think somebody on Twitter said he did play in the under-23s yesterday, so that's probably why he wasn't playing today. But do you think we should be bringing more of the youth through, a bit more pace, or looking in January for somebody that can do that sort of stuff?
Definitely, I would 100% support bringing the youth players in. You've just got to ask the question of are they good enough? I think a lot of the times, Sunderland fans in particular are very prone to seeing youth players as automatically better than players in the prime. It's almost as if like, oh, he's under the age of 23. Oh, he must be brilliant. It's like, and I mean, look, Hume came in. You got forced to. I think Hume's done very well this and last season. To me, if I could choose youth players to come in, there's 3: Dan Neil, Elliot Embleton, and Jack Diamond.
Yeah.
Maybe defensively, Oliver Younger impressed me against Fleetwood, but I think he got an injury. I would definitely support the idea of coming in, but you've got to make sure they're good enough, and they've got to make sure they're actually going to add something to the squad. However, one thing I would say is that the unpredictability these youth players are going to bring is intangibly valuable, because one area we've went wrong this season is that teams scout us. Clearly, they scout us to figure out what we're going to do, and they put a plan to stop that. If they all of a sudden say Dan Neil, Jack Diamond, Elliot Embleton start 11, they don't know what they're going to bring as players, and you kind of prepare for them. So I would definitely support the notion of them coming in. You've just got to make sure that they actually are good enough, and that we aren't just asking them to come in purely because of their age. Was there something else you asked us? Sorry, it's just went off the top.
No, I think that's about. I think you covered. I watched Embleton today, and I thought he was one of the better players on the pitch. Looked like he was attack minded. You know what I mean? Sort of pushing forward. It was great to see. And when we did see Dan Neil pre-season, he seemed very similar. He passed that great ball through to Greg, who managed to score a goal. And Diamond, when he's been on, has looked decent. So yeah, I think that's what we should be doing. And then I think this caretaker manager didn't really do much different today. I mean, yeah, Embleton was there, but he could have done more.
What realistically can you do in a day's training? I would imagine I haven't done much training today if I have at all. They'll have been training yesterday and Sunday. It'll have only been taking charge Monday. Can you really implement an entirely different system in like 24 hours? Well, about what's going to be slightly more than 48 hours? I think if fans were expecting the caretaker manager to have entirely flipped it today, I think that's a bit of a big ask of someone. I don't blame him for sticking to a relatively similar system. Would have been nice to see some of the youth players come in today, but maybe he just thought they weren't ready. But you know, I rate Embleton from what I've seen of him. I rate Dan Neil. I think I appreciate and respect what it is they bring to the squad and how they can improve the squad going forward. Add a different dynamic, add a bit more intensity in midfield, which is, I think, something we really lack. A bit more bite. I definitely support the idea of them coming in. We've just got to make sure that they actually are going to improve the squad and that we aren't just confident they'll come in purely because of the youngsters.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I just think Andrew Taylor didn't have anything that could have stopped him from taking a few risks, changing not the whole system but the formation maybe. You know, like just do something. It just seemed like Phil Parkinson with Embleton in. To me, that it didn't seem like he was really exploring much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll have been a horrible situation. He probably wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Parkinson. I mean, to me, Parkinson clearly hasn't been sacked because of Friday night, because he wouldn't have been in training on Sunday. So it's clearly been a very quick decision, in my opinion. It's got to be something to do with the takeover. So I think the takeover manager probably wasn't expecting it, and he's probably panicked and thought, right, well, Parkinson did the exact same thing when he came in. He only had a few days, so he stuck with the same system Ross had initially, 4-2-3-1, when we went away at Wickham. Because he hadn't had time to get his idea across of playing their three at the back. So I think I don't know how much blame you can really put on him for not changing it much. If it was me, maybe I would have changed it. Maybe I would have went for the back, even as someone who's a huge advocate of wing backs. I think the class. Maybe I would have changed it, but if I was in his shoes and you've got a lot of pressure and you're thinking, well, maybe just stick with what we know, and it probably won't go disastrous.
Yeah. At least we got 1 point, I suppose, against one of the near the bottom teams. I suppose we can't really complain.
And I'm fighting to lose in battle here. I know I am, but yeah. I'll fight it regardless.
No. Honestly, you're entitled your opinion, and it's fair enough. I'm not saying I disagree. I just think there wasn't really a lot of pressure on him. He's not going to stay there. I just think if he'd done something outrageous or like just pushed it, and we got the 3 points, maybe he's not going to keep the job, but it would have looked better on him. I suppose that's my point. Anyway, we'll move on from that. I want to know quickly, what is your current favourite player at Sunderland, and why is that? And what is your all-time favourite player at Sunderland?
Well, my all-time favourite player has probably got to be Jermaine Defoe, really.
Yeah.
Had he not left us in the way he did, it would have been Darren Bent. But I think it's got to be Jermaine Defoe. I think, to me, I really connected with him as a person. Like, and the stuff with Bradley Lowery obviously was class as well to see. And I think it got to everyone really. The way he conducted himself with him was fantastic, as well as all the goals he brought us. All the memories. Jermaine Defoe's brought me some fantastic memory. Well, a lot less than probably Phillips would to someone who's a bit older, but I think I see Defoe in a sort of way. He brought me a lot of happy memories with his goals. Right now, to toss up, I like a few of them. I really like Maguire when he first came in. I really like Gooch. I listened to the unfiltered podcasts at the club do, and I thought that, to me, I was listening to that, and it just made us like Gooch even more. But I think I've got to go with Luke O'Nien, really. And that's not even because of him as a player; it's his attitude and his personality. I recently watched the Sunderland Till I Die documentary back, and I just thought that's why we love this bloke, because he's just such a genuine, honest, hard-working lad, and you can see how much his performance as a footballer means to him. I know one question you can't ask is about the hate, the hate table.
Don't give it away.
Yeah, he's a complete juxtaposition to the player that I'm gonna mention, right. Where you can tell he's there to play football, and he absolutely loves it, and he just wants to be the best player he can, do the best for the team. It's even the things like when he stays behind after training there. There was a photo of him. It was like in the evening. He was like collecting cones and things like that for like when the youth team was training. I just thought like his attitude is you just kind of knock it. So as much as he's not the best player in our squad, I love the bloke a bit, like in terms of his attitude and his personality. Like you kind of felt him.
Yeah, he's absolutely spot on. everything you said there was spot on. If we had another 10 players like him, even if they weren't technically amazing players, just the work rate and what he wants to give to the club, I think we'd be winning a hell of a lot more games. So I can't fault that one bit. Right, is there any other, apart from Sunderland, is there any other teams you sort of have a soft spot for, or any other sports even, like you really like to enjoy watching?
I know you're massively into your Formula One, but other sports, nah, not really. Played rugby like a tiny bit in school, and I thought that was canny to play, but never really sparked me interest. Nah, not really. There's no other sports that come to mind. Right. I'm not one for like MMA or boxing or anything. I enjoyed training it a couple of years ago when I did that for a little bit, but I've never really got the buzz from watching that. Other clubs, yes. Sunderland is my club. It's nothing will ever compare to it. And I would always put Sunderland first. But a few years ago, I went to quite a lot of Gateshead games and South Shields games, and I really enjoyed what non-league brought, and I got quite attached to them. So definitely, I got a soft spot for them. And if there was ever like a time when I had a Saturday afternoon free and I couldn't get to the away game, I would definitely go back to one of those games if I couldn't get the game on the telly or something. So them, and then I've always it's pretty much since Sunderland got relegated from the Premier League, but a little bit before that as well, I've kind of always liked Liverpool a little bit. I think it's when Henderson went there. And I kind of sort of watched Liverpool, and then Mignolet went there to keep up with them. And I think naturally over time I got a little bit attached to them. I think it's the similar like passion of the fans, and it reminds us of Sunderland a little bit, but nothing will ever come close to Sunderland. Like never in a million years. It's and those clubs are, if they get beat, I'm not really bothered. But with Sunderland, it's like Sunderland, it dictates my mood on the weekend, like how Sunderland do. I'll still be down about 24 hours later if it's a bad result.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I think when you mentioned Liverpool there as well, I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but for me, Liverpool, if I was to pick another team, it would be Liverpool, just for the passion, the way they sing, all the flags out. It just seems like a fantastic club to be a part of, doesn't it?
I might watch them like on a Champions League night if Sunderland's not playing in League One, or like if they're playing on a Sunday or whatever, and I can get the match on a stream, whatever, I might watch them. But it's not a huge thing. It's just like I quite enjoy watching them, and that's about it. But I'm not hugely bothered about the result. Like. Yeah,
that's fair enough, mate. So, okay, here we go, Jack Dodds. I've got £1,000 for you. You're going to go to the bookies tomorrow. You're going to place a bet of when Sunderland are going to be back in the Premiership. When are you going to see it? What season? How long is it going to take?
So we're in the 2020-2021 season now. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be the 2026-2027 season.
So 5 to 6 years, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't want to say like 5 years because it's like, is that including this season? Like, so that's when the 2026-2027 season, which would be what? 4 years as of next, or 5 years as of next season, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable target, and I would be happy with it. Obviously, get promoted this season, get promoted next season. That's what every fan wants, but I think that is a very realistic target.
I think if we went up right now, I think next season would have a huge task in hands, because this squad would obviously get relegated from the Championship, probably worse than the other one that got relegated from the Championship. So I think would come straight back down, but if not, you've then got to sign 20 or so players and get rid of so many. And to do that in one transfer window and make them all gel in time is such a difficult task. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's obviously a massive jump from Championship to Premiership, but I think the jump now is equally as big from League One to Championship. Yeah,
as opposed to League One from League Two, which I don't think is a huge jump. I think it, but then it. I mean, look at Wickham. If they only got 1 point this season so far, or something like that. Yeah, like look at that. Like Wickham were like a very decent team in our division. Like they got 1 point, and I don't think it would be that bad. But I think something similar could happen to us. Like.
Yeah. Well, speaking of teams that have been decent, our next one is Wigan at home. How do you think? I mean, it's a very hard question to answer because we don't know who's going to be in charge. If there's anybody else going to be in charge, what sort of formation, what players are going to be playing. But can you sort of give us how you sort of example of how you feel that might go, and chuck a prediction in there as well?
Well, I'm just going to plug my channel as an excuse, any excuse to. I've got Tom White coming on for Sunderland from Sky Sports.
Oh, yeah.
As well as a Wigan fan who has actually got his own podcast, that the Final Whittle it's called or something, and it seems to be quite a big thing. So I'm just going to plug that. The preview for that will be up at some point before Saturday, as soon as we can get it recorded. About Thursday afternoon, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll speak about that on there. My prediction for that, I am confident with how poor Wigan are. And I do think that regardless of who's manager, and even if it's the same lad who was in charge tonight, Andy Taylor, I think his name is, I still think we'll beat them. I'm going to go with 2-0. I reckon we'll beat them. I think it'll be fairly comfortable. I don't think they'll put any pressure on us.
Yeah, I'll take that straight away. I don't know if White's going to be playing. He looked a bit dodgy by the end of the game, didn't he?
Well, he came off, didn't he? Was about 15 minutes in or something. Danny Graham came on from look injured. Right. Luke O'Nine's as well. God, that was. Yeah. I'm panicking about that. Like,
I'm hoping it's a dislocation rather than a break. But
it looked bad. Like, it looked like I couldn't move it. Like.
Yeah. He's me saying by the end of the game. I meant sort of when White came off, he looked like he was hobbling.
I got it now.
Yeah. Anyway, right, mate. We're gonna go before I ask you a little bit more about your channel and like why people should go and subscribe. I want to just ask you the last question. Hate league table. I don't know. Like, I keep saying hate is a strong word, but there's a lot of fans who are quite happy to tell us who they hate. Any player, any manager in any league. Yours is different from who's top, I believe. So come on, tell us who it is and why it is.
So I've watched quite a few of these. I've watched like the vast majority of them. There's maybe only a couple that I haven't watched.
Mm-hmm.
And I just noticed everyone was saying Joey Barton. And I thought, for one, I don't just want to say Joey Barton because that gets boring. Like, I feel as if like there's someone else who, like, sure, there's got to be another person. The initial instinct was Jack Colback. But I actually thought, like, there's barely anyone on this planet who I hate. Like, there's a lot of people I don't like. But like even Joey Barton, I don't think I hate him. So I would never say that I hate him. But it sprung to mind the day I thought, oh, there's someone who could go on this list, and he's got no involvement with Newcastle, Middlesbrough, Leeds, Portsmouth, Coventry, any of them. It's an ex-Sunderland player,
right,
who stole a living for us for multiple years.
Yeah.
Never put any real effort in making sure he could give himself the best chance of coming in the team. I actually met one of his ex-managers at a talk-in who spoke of how disgusting he went on. There were scenes of him in the Netflix documentary where someone asked him, it was actually a comment where someone asked him, like, oh, you won't be playing. He was like laughing, saying no. He showed absolutely no ambition to do anything for this football club, yet he was still happy to pick up his 60 grand a week. I'm sure everyone knows who it is.
Yeah.
It's Jack Rodwell.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody could actually really argue with that. After watching the documentary in particular, it makes it like so clear what he's doing to the club.
He's an absolute scumbag. Like, I would go, even past the football, he's a despicable human being. Like, I don't think he realises, like, the people of Sunderland, he was on 60 grand a week. I was trying to work out, like, your average person from Sunderland, that would be their salary over, like, 2 to 3 years. Like, then he was getting that a week, and he just didn't even seem bothered. Other people who would, like, kill and die to pull that shirt on and play for Sunderland, and he just didn't even look interested. To me, above a footballer, I think he's a despicable human being. Like, and I don't really hate many people at all, but for me, just his attitude, I can tell. I haven't even met him. I can just tell. I can't stand people like that who are just happy to pick up a paycheck but do absolutely nothing for it. He's a despicable human being. Like, yeah. I honestly, I couldn't even say that I hate Joey Barton. I didn't like him. Really don't like him, but I couldn't say that I hate him.
Yeah. No, you've made a good point, and it's nice to have somebody else on the league table, mate. And I think you might give other people a little bit of some.
Hopefully, I've got a bit of inspiration now. Hopefully, we're going to get a real genuine league table by the end of the season, and it's not just going to be Drew Barton running away with it.
Yeah, it's going to be hashtag. We'll have to think of a hashtag to get rid of to get Jack Rodwell up the top of the table. But
hashtag we hate Jack. We hate Jack Rodwell. Just that'll do.
That'll do. Yeah. Hashtag we hate Jack Rodwell. That's what you got to go on Twitter. Put it on there now. But anyway, that is it for the questions, mate. I really have enjoyed having you on. I want to just give you a chance to plug your channel a little bit more. Tell people why they should go over there, subscribe, what your aims and goals are going forward in the channel. I think you might have already briefly mentioned it, but I'll drop all your links anyway below. Anything that you've got.
Appreciate that.
Twitter, Instagram, anything that you want is going to be in the description, so check them out. But yeah, go for it.
Well, if anyone wants to look at me Twitter, it's just Jack Dodds SAFC. My Instagram's Jack Dodds 18. I think that's the only two I really use mainly. If anyone wants to go over my channel, I like to think, without blowing my own trumpet, it's a little bit different to a lot of Sunderland channels. Not to disrespect anyone who's in this area, and I think that, I watch them all, but I think there's a lot of like post-match reactions, instant of like people's thoughts. As I say, I watch them all. I watch the fans' reactions on this channel. I watch the interviews when Sean does them. I watch the live streams when Fan TV do them. I watch Michael loads, Gilesy, all of them. I'm fans of all them. But I just thought, wait, I think there's an opportunity here for maybe something a little bit different, where you try to have a little bit more of just an open discussion about the team, get a real appreciation for different opinions, and as well try to talk to opposition fans. As I say, like one thing I've always thought of, like, wait, I would love to find out a bit more about, for example, Burton. How do they line up? What kind of players do they look out for? What kind of tactics do they have? How they've been doing so far this season, and why has it been so bad? And so that's what my channel is all about. Something a little bit different, I think, from a lot of the Sunderland fan channels. If I do say so myself, yeah. A bit more appreciation for different opinions, and a bit more diplomatic, maybe, where we're trying to have a bit more of a debate on any controversial areas. I ask a lot of people who their midfield three would be in terms of a central three, because Parkinson seem to like playing three centre midfielders. Ask them opinion on the wing backs, opinion on which youth players like to come in, things like that. Probably change it up a little bit now, so I would imagine we'll be changing tactic a little bit in the next few weeks with a new manager coming in. And then that's the preview show, and the review show is pretty similar, getting the same two fans on. Ideally, we might have to change up the odd week if we kind of get three people to fit around the schedule in time. Again, talking to the away fan, talking to the opposition fan, if we won the game, actually, from your perspective, how did it look? Which is just something I haven't really seen, and it's something I've thought was a canny idea for a while. So anyone who seems interested in that, I always appreciate extra viewers and such. And then as well with the interviews, I've just got the number of Sunderland legend, really, someone who one of our highest ever appearing players. I'm not going to say his name yet, in case I put my foot in it, but he's definitely said he'll come on. As I say, there was a player you mentioned earlier, a few others getting on for interviews. Similar thing to this, really, like an interview, podcast style type thing. Getting as many on as I can, as well as getting, maybe some people who aren't directly involved with the club, but are a bit more notable. The Andy off the Netflix series. Maybe it'd be nice to get a few more who are on the Netflix series to come on, and things like that. Frankie Francis, he said he'd come on. He's a kind of busy lad, but as soon as we can get a time that fits around us both, we've got an interview planned with him. And yeah, as I say, I think it's something maybe a little bit different, hopefully, anyway. As for where I want to take the channel, hopefully keep doing the same style videos. I have set myself a target of getting 150 subscribers by the end of the year. Very optimistic. The last time I checked, I was on 74 or 73, something along those lines.
You can do it.
So I only set the channel up about 9 days ago or something. So it will be a huge ask, but if anyone likes the idea of the content, why not go and have a look? And hopefully I can get there. We'll be class to get there.
Yeah, you can, mate. You've done brilliantly. Considering how long you've been out on there, I'm really impressed. But I didn't have any doubts anyway. And for me, yeah, the ideas you've got and what's coming forward, I'm looking forward to it. And I think there's always more room for more fantastic Sunderland YouTubers. And that's basically what this channel is for. It's to get the fans react, not just the fans' reactions, but to support and promote other Sunderland YouTubers. And I'm just glad I can do a little bit to maybe help people. It's not a big channel by any means, but it's just.
No, but I think it's really unique in that it just offers the platform to anyone who wants to come on and do their own thing. And I would definitely say anyone who, I mean, I'm in full support of absolutely everyone. This channel, SAFC Fan TV, or any other like individual YouTubers. Giles is the first one that comes to mind. Jamsani, etc. Like, you know, anyone who's got an idea for a video, even if it's just you talking about the match straight after, you know, I'm in full support. You know, like do it, and hopefully the more people we can get on, the more interaction we can have, and hopefully the better content we can all make as a community. You know, like working together as opposed to working against each other, which is something I'll always, for as long as I'll do this, something I'll always try to uphold. And I would definitely encourage anyone to get involved with this channel. I think it's class the way that very inclusive. You know, if you've got an idea, you can just go with it, and if people like it, they'll keep watching.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming on, mate. That is the end of the show. I'm going to just say it one more time. All of Jack Dodds' links will be below in the description. Please go over, check him out. Click on one of his videos and just leave a comment if you can. Just saying, SAF Fans React sent you. Anything like
that. Can I ask you a question before we go?
Well, of course, go. I never get asked questions, so it's quite.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit startling with what I'll ask you, because like obviously I've been in your position quite a few times recently where you're trying to dictate the discussion and ask, well, not dictate, but lead the discussion and ask questions. And why do you call it SAF instead of SAFC? That's just something I've wondered.
That's a good question. SAFC.
I picked up on.
I always have. I've always called it SAFC. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's just a family thing. Am I the only one that does it?
I don't know. I've never heard it. My auntie said it once, but like,
yeah, it might be.
They live down south, so I was.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, ask anybody that's watching this. If you're getting this far, like, am I the only one that sees SAFC? Because I know for a fact my family members do, but is it just a unique thing to my family?
I've just picked up on it because I mean, I've watched most of the FanCast, but I went back and watched like 2 or 3 in the last couple of days because I knew I was coming on. Watched Jacobs this morning, as I've said. I just noticed you kept saying SAFC, and I thought I need to ask him that. Like, I cannot let that lie.
Well, I just thought it was normal. I mean, obviously I've heard of SAFC, but I just always thought everybody said it. But you just proved me wrong there. So
it's not. And obviously I know you live down south, like, but I wouldn't say it's common. Well, and then you lived in Washington before, but like, I wouldn't say like among Sunderland, like I wouldn't say it's kind of common among Sunderland, like.
Yeah, even when I see it, like I'll see a SAFC Fan TV, I won't see SAFC. So
it's a bit of a mouthful when you're saying Fan TV after, like.
Yeah, maybe it's an older school thing, because I'm sure there's quite a lot of people use that term, but we'll find out.
I just thought I can't let that slide, like.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, mate. I've never actually been asked it, and to be honest with you, I just thought it was totally normal. So we'll see what anybody puts in the comments below. I'm going to share this video, and hopefully everybody's enjoyed watching it. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Jack, for being on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on. It's been nice speaking to you.
Yeah, excellent. Well, you know what to do, guys. Go over, check his channel. If you've enjoyed today's show, give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Really would appreciate it. And we've just completed a giveaway, a Sunderland top that's going to be going out very shortly, and we're close to. So I think we're about 219 subscribers. We're trying to get to 300 by the end of the year as well.
I can look if you want. I can go have a look.
Quick look. Yeah, we do. I think it was Omar wanted to set a target for us, and we are trying to get to 300 by the end of the year. So hopefully,
let's see, fans, right. On my phone, as of the current moment, it is 213.
Right, there you go. I knew it was a teen there. So yeah, I really do appreciate every single one of you that have subscribed. Share the videos, do everything you've got to do. But yeah, go over, check Jack Dodds out. That's it for today. You guys take care, and for now, we'll see you later.